coming back for another video. And today we have a seller success story. And we have Rachel with us, who is a newer seller whose business has just taken off really quickly over the past about 10 months. And so she's going to share some things with you about how she did this and to help you with your business. So say hi, Rachel.
Hi.
Okay, so we're going to get started with just introduce yourself, where you're from, where you live, that kind of thing.
Well, my name is Rachel, and I am in McMinnville, Tennessee. I'm from California, but I moved here 20 years ago, so I've been here ever since. That's pretty much it. I have 3 kids.
3 kids?
Yeah.
What are their ages?
Well, one's about to turn 18 in December, and I have a 16-year-old and a 12-year-old. My 2 oldest are boys, and my youngest is a girl.
So you're paying for car insurance.
Yeah, well, I'm paying for a lot of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, when they get up teenagers, it's like they're more independent, but they're more expensive.
Yeah.
So eBay comes in handy for that, I'm sure. And your store name is?
Eclectic Aesthetic.
Okay, and so there will be a link to your store under the video so people can go check you out and see that you're a real seller and what you sell and look at your feedback and everything. Yeah. So let's just jump in. How long have you been selling on eBay?
Well, I started unofficially, I guess, in 2015. I had a personal tragedy. It was pretty much just wanting to not have to move and pay my bills, and and so it was pretty unofficial at that point. But fast forward a couple of years, and things were falling apart at my job, and so I wanted to find something else, and I was looking for another job. I found another job. I gave my notice, and then that job fell through after I gave my notice. Somebody was transferring to fill that position instead. And I thought, well, I need to make money while I'm looking for another job. I need to kind of up my game. So I started researching, and on YouTube, there was a bunch of salespeople, just trying to sell you a pipe dream for $99.99, just do this and you can have this passive income. And I really wasn't looking for that. I was looking for somebody to say, if you put in the work, this will work, And then I found your videos. And you really said, if you do the work, it will pay off. And I thought, well, maybe I can do this full time, and I didn't think that before I found your videos. So thank you. And, So I started watching everything. I joined your Facebook group. So many helpful people on there. I read every question that anybody asked, and then I just dove in head first. And I was still kind of looking for a job just in case, but the flexibility of eBay and the fact that it works, I was blown away. I'm glad not everybody does it, but I'm wondering why not everybody does it because it's so simple. But
well, and it takes dedication and patience, and it really is a skill because not everybody can do it.
Yeah.
We feel like that because it comes easily, and
right.
If you're passionate about something, it comes easily, and you wonder, why doesn't everyone do this?
Mm-hmm.
You look at, I always go back to musicians, and it's like they just sit down and start playing the piano, and make it look so easy.
True.
Because it's their gift. It works with them. It resonates with them. So not everybody can do eBay. So people out there listening that think that it's a skill. You have to learn all the moving parts and how to do it. So for you to have done so much, and we're going to get to that soon, in such a short time, it means that you worked at it, and it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in a week. It takes some time to learn it.
Oh, yeah.
So you said that you got serious in January,
Mm-hmm.
meaning business license and full time. So tell us a little bit more about what getting serious meant to you.
That's when I decided that I could do it as a career, as a job. And um, so, you know, it was about that time that we decided to, it was my boyfriend and I both invested some money into it, and we bought a lot of products to sell. I got a business license, started keeping track better so that, for taxes. and um, and we just dove in head first. I mean, I do the eBay 100%. My boyfriend helps with local sales because we combine the two. And I do local sales as well. And we just dove in head first. That's, this is my job. I do it all the time. It's like
Right.
nonstop.
Yes, it's not a job, it's a way of life.
Yeah, it's a hobby. I feel like it's a hobby I get paid for, but but I do it constantly. It's I feel like I probably even work more hours than I did when I was at an actual job, but it's flexible, so it doesn't feel like it's work, because I can drop everything and pay attention to my kids, or take a trip, or just something.
Well, and I think most sellers that are successful with this are back and forth with it all day. You don't go in there at 9 and finish at 5.
Right.
You go in there, there's a saying about entrepreneurs work 9 to 5, and that's 9 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Right.
We're always working. So,
Right.
you go in there at 7 in the morning and do some stuff, and then you take a break and do your laundry and drive your kids around and do whatever, and then you come back to it, and then you help your kids with their homework when they get home from school and take them to their activities, and then do dinner, and then they're settled in for the night, and then you work 2 or 3 more hours. So it's not, for people looking to get into it full time, it's not sitting at your desk from 9 to 5. It just doesn't work like that,
Right.
especially when you're selling to people in all time zones. So you may get a sale at 10 o'clock at night, and you're like, oh, I better go get that shipped so I don't have to do it in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of the way it works for you?
It is. And especially with local sales, because, I have people messaging me, is this available? And, when can we meet? So I'm always setting up meeting times. And then, like you said, with the sales on eBay, I know I'm going to have 5 more the next morning. So if I have one at 10 o'clock at night, I want to get that ready so that I don't have as many to do the next morning. And so, yeah, it's always
Right.
constantly.
Yeah, and that's just the way it works. So let's see. Now let's talk about your professional background, because you've got a lot of stuff going on there. And I like to show that, this is, people are doing eBay intentionally. It's not because you can't do anything else or you're not smart enough. It's like you're leaving those soul-sucking jobs to come do this.
Yeah. Well, I did start out in nursing. I have a bad back. I couldn't keep doing that. And so I went on to photography. I worked for it was an amazing job. I was a manager, and I loved it. It was probably one of my favorite jobs, but they did not want to make the necessary changes with the times, and they ended up going bankrupt. So then I started a job. I was in a financial institution. I worked my way up. I was the branch manager, the do-it-all manager, and I did that for several years. And it was great when I first started, but things changed, and it was just not a good environment to work in. And I chose to leave that, and it was a good paying job, but I chose to leave that, and now I'm making what I made, almost making what I made there. And that's my goal, is to make more than that, So
that photography background comes in handy with eBay, doesn't it?
does. Yes, it does. It really does. And I've built my own light box, and it does come in handy.
Okay, great. Now, some things happened in your life, you don't have to get into details, that caused you to shift to eBay full time. And this is really part of the message I want to get out there to people who have things in their life that happen that cause them to need a home business.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
What happened to you, if you can, whatever you want to share.
Sure. In a nutshell, so my husband at the time did something horrible. He was arrested and charged. He faces 100 years in prison. So when that happened, we lost his income, and my kids lost their insurance. And around that same time, I had to have spinal surgery. So I lost 40% of my income because I was on short-term disability. My newly teenage boys were kind of losing their mind over a lot of the tragedy that had happened. So they were racking up some court costs. They're doing fine now, but that was an extra expense. And so I didn't want to have to move on top of all of that. So, so I got started with selling online so that I could not have to move. My family has passed away, so I didn't really have that support system. My husband's family kind of turned their back on it, so I didn't have that support system. So it was just me. And, I had to make sure that, I could be here for my kids. They were really needing me. I don't know what I would have done without eBay, because I would have had to work 2 jobs, but I had nobody to watch my kids. So, and I know a lot of people are in that situation. They have to work all the time to support their kids. They're single moms, but I'm really grateful for eBay because it allowed me to not have to work a second job away from home. And so, I mean, it kept me in a house that, my husband and I had gotten together with both of our incomes. So it allowed me to be able to stay here and not really change our lifestyle too much. We still did things and still, kept our cable and, just little things that, aren't that important, but still costly,
Well, trying to keep the environment consistent for your kids because they're already going through enough, and a move on top of that is just another thing they're going to have to deal with. So I totally get it. I don't have the story you have, but when I went through my divorce, that was my number one goal, was to stay in their home.
Yeah.
We've been there for 5 years, and their friends in the neighborhood and the school, and to keep their life from being disrupted because of my life. And that's really important, to keep their environment calm, and as calm as possible.
I mean, their lives were turned upside down. So, I didn't want to have to make that worse for them. So,
I mean, wow, you're resilient. I mean, you just stepped up and did it in spite of all these things coming at you at once. And that seems to be like the way life works. It's like God's up there saying, oh, let's see what else we can pile on and see what else. And you come out stronger on the other end, but it sure is hard.
Yeah.
I commend you on just being resilient and getting through it.
Thank you.
Okay, so you decided put all your energy into eBay and make that work. And so let's get into what kind of stuff do you sell?
Everything. Nothing is off limits. When I first started, I was doing clothes because that's what, I was watching you. And I learned that I really didn't like it. It's not for me. And I actually, anybody who does that full time and makes a living, I commend 100%, because that is a lot of work. Washing, drying, steaming, trying to get it to look good on the mannequin, measuring, weighing, storing, all of that. It was just not something, and I'm not very good at it. I learned, and I just don't have that eye. I'm a jeans and t-shirt kind of person. So I just don't have that eye. And so I commend anybody who can do that. So I started looking for other ways. I did start going to yard sales and such, and I did okay with that. But then we found a location that sells, I would say, probably 70% new items. They're usually shelf pulls, and maybe 30% returned items. But a lot of the returns are just, I didn't want it, buyer's remorse kind of things. Maybe 5% of those things come back broken or used, too bad to sell. And you can look at everything before you buy it, of course. So everything on Saturday and Sunday is $5. On on Wednesday, everything's $1. So I don't spend more than $5 on every item. I learned that people will buy anything online. It doesn't matter how much it weighs. International shipping, I am blown away by, somebody bought a $20 rice cooker and spent $60 in shipping and handling. And this was not a fancy rice cooker. It was actually even missing the measuring cup and the scoop. So it blows me away sometimes. And then I get geography lessons too. I mean, there are places that I had no idea existed, and and they will buy just the smallest things and pay so much in shipping. So I learned to nothing's off limits, breakables, nothing. And so I sell everything. If I feel like it can make a profit, I go to this place. I'm there for hours. My boyfriend and I both, we both research everything before we buy it. We make sure that it's selling on eBay. And then we buy it, bring it home, list it. And I mean, I think that my biggest turnaround was I bought something for $5 and sold it for $3.60. I get quite a few of those. A lot of things over $100. Right now, I'm averaging about $45 per item. That's just an average. I have still a lot of clothing items and things from when I first started, so it kind of brings my numbers down a little. But I'm looking at increasing that. With the more things that we sell, it's probably going to be closer to 60 in the next month or two. So pretty good.
Wow, that's fantastic. So how many things do you have listed now?
It's close to 260.
260 items at a dollar amount of what?
11.6.
Okay, so if everything's sold in your store today, you would walk away with $11,600.
Yes.
Great. Now, did you tell me? Yes, you did tell me your profit, because you keep your numbers. You approach this like a business, so you got your numbers.
And they've actually increased.
Gold star for having your numbers. So you said it ranges between $2,500 and $3,000 profit per month, and that is with local sales as well. About $1,500 to $2,000 is eBay, and that has been increasing each month for the last 8 months. So
yeah, and that's actually more now. So it's actually 30. Well, the last month was 3,400. So total, and that's just profit. So that is complete profit. 3,400. So
are you set up as a what's your business entity? Like
I'm sorry.
Sole proprietorship?
Yeah, sole proprietor. Yeah.
Do you have a like accountant, a CPA that helps you with your?
No, I do that myself.
Okay. Okay. Good for you.
Yeah. Well, I learned how to do it, so it's cheaper than having to pay someone.
Right. So when you were doing the photography business, was that a sole proprietorship?
Actually, when I was in finance, I learned just about everything there. So
okay, so you already had that skill. That's fantastic. Good for you. So we won't get into all the tax stuff, but I do like to ask, because when your business is growing so fast, that can get out of whack, and then you haven't even been doing it for a year yet. We haven't been through a tax season yet, so you haven't really had to worry about that much, just keeping good records. Okay, so we talked about your sourcing a little bit. Now you go to the shelf pull secret place.
Yeah.
You do garage sales. Do you do thrift stores too?
I did starting out, but we find so many items where we go now that we come back with $200 to $500 worth of stuff each weekend, and there's just it's not necessary to go anywhere else. If that stops working, of course I'll find other avenues, but right now that's working for us, and we spend most of our time doing that. We have to get there really early, sit outside for a long time, to get in the doors. So, and we're there for hours, and it is a distance. It's, there's several of them here in Tennessee, but it's definitely more than an hour drive each place is. So that's all we have time for right
I mean, that makes sense because you're using your time wisely and you get home with your stuff and you get it listed.
now. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
you're not just going shopping for the sake of shopping, which, it's hard because like I had a place here that Monday, they have their big sale for everything's $1.50. But
Mm-hmm.
I still have 40 things left from 2 weeks ago when I went the last time because I bought over 100. I still have like 40 things that aren't listed. And it's like, no, get this listed and then you can go again. The supply is never going to dry up. There's always going to be things to buy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so tempting when it's out there. But
Yeah.
I like this, and that's why you're successful is because you're disciplined. You get the things listed before you go again. And if you've only got, I say only, you've got 260 items, which is a lot. But there are people out there with 1,500 that aren't doing as well as you are, or have it's taken them years to get to where you are, and you've done this very quickly.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's hard to stay above 260 because things sell so quickly, and I feel like that is what I'm doing. I list, and wrap, and send to the post office. It's just my cycle, and I try to list quickly.
And it's funny because this happens to me. You come home and you've got all this stuff, and you carry it in, and you deal with it and get it listed, and then it's like, I just brought this in here 3 days ago and I'm taking it back out again. And that's the way it's supposed to work.
Right. I like it when it's like that, And something's on the shelf for so long and it's not selling. And I used to worry about it. I've learned that just about anything will sell eventually. But, but I know early on I was like, why is this not selling? Everything else is selling quickly. Why is this not selling? And then, 8 months later it sells. And I was like, oh, okay. So. Everything will sell eventually, I've learned.
What are some of your sales, like your biggest high dollar sales that you've seen? You said you sold something for $360?
Mm-hmm, yeah, it was a laser engraver, I bought it for $5. There was nothing wrong with it. I couldn't even believe it. And, there's other sellers where I go and it blows me away what they will pass up because they don't know what I know. That you can sell anything, and so it works for me, and then I have a lot of $100 items, and everything's different. So I don't ever. It's rare that I sell the same thing twice. There are just I don't know. I can't think of.
Yeah, I didn't ask you that. I put you on the spot there. So well, that was one of the reasons I wanted to get you on because you kept popping up on the Money Making Mondays with, I sold this and I sold this. And I'm like, who is this Rachel? I've not seen her. Because that group has been there for like 10 years. And like, she's new. And look at all this stuff she's selling. And then you put a post up one day about that you were new and that you had done so well so quickly, and it was like an encouragement to other people.
Yeah, so. I see a lot of people saying eBay is dead and all these things, and is it worth? A lot of people ask, is it worth getting started? And that's where I want to jump in and say, yes, it's worth getting started. Just just do it. If you have any questions, ask, because I did it. It does work. I feel like if I can do it, anybody can do it, and a lot of people say that, but that's just how I feel. I'm just like, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Well, and you mentioned you had like a back problem.
Yes, I had spinal surgery and I have to have another one. So, it's kind of frowned upon if you lay down at a job. So, So, that's what I do like about this. I can sit, stand, lay, just whatever I need to do where my back is concerned. I have to have a fusion done. And so I'm, glad that I'm able to do this and just kind of work at my own pace.
Do you have to take painkillers?
I do. Yeah. I try not to. So it has to be pretty severe before I take anything.
It's just when you take them, there goes your day, because if they make you so tired, none of them make you tired, or you can't think as well, and they affect your ability to work.
Well, I think the opposite, actually. If I don't take it, I can't do anything. My back it's debilitating, the pain sometimes. So if I don't take it, the pill will give me better quality of life because I can move around and get things done.
Oh,
So,
good. Okay. Then that's great. I hear it both ways. So
yeah,
sometimes people are like, yeah, I don't want to have to take my pain medication because
right.
there goes, it's either get through the day with the pain and not be as productive, or take, if it's a narcotic, take this and then I feel great, but I'm all loopy and I can't do anything. So,
Oh,
um, yeah, I mean, that's
I'm
another.
loopy anyway, so
Well, that's another reason people end up doing eBay is, they have a health problem or a disability or some issue they have to deal with. And, you know, you can't do it in a 9 to 5 workplace.
yeah, that's true. I mean, I was trying to take that into consideration when I thought I was looking for another job, and thinking, this job wants you to stand all day, or this job wants you to sit all day, and I can't do one or the other the whole time. So that was definitely something to consider. So that's why I'm glad this works.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you can do it. I know people who they'll work for 2 hours and go rest and come back at it and do it again a couple hours. And then they get, 6 or 8 hours in a day. It's just all sprinkled in throughout the day, and they're working around whatever it is that they have to work around, and they can still earn a living. And it's empowering, and you don't feel like you're relying on other people. You're doing it yourself.
Yeah.
um, and I like to call it a fun distraction from, it's not like medical billing where you're sitting there at the computer all day just putting numbers in, or some of these at home jobs that are just so monotonous. And I've done them. They're just, it's like, oh God, I can't even do this for 20 minutes. It's so boring. You can only do something for money for so long. But
Yeah.
today you've got all these different tasks. You'd be taking pictures, you'd be listing, you'd be shipping your stuff, you can be doing research, you can be out getting your items. So it's like a lot of variety.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, speaking of that, do you outsource any part of your business, or is it all you?
It's me and my boyfriend. He, like I said, he does a lot of the local sales. We both have a little over 100 items listed, and then he helps me shop, which I'm grateful for because we can cover more ground and get more stuff. Um, and he's a really good sport about it. A lot of men don't like to shop, but he's usually one of them. But he likes the hunt. It's a lot of fun for both of us. So no outsource other than my kids. Sometimes I'll pay them to help me do something, but when I was doing clothes, I paid them to measure everything.
Well, I'm glad that you didn't stay with it if you didn't like it, because
Yeah.
there is this idea floating around out there that you have to sell clothes on eBay to be successful. And no, it's just the reason so many people do it is because there's just so much of it. When you
Yeah.
go into a thrift store, 75% of it's clothing. So
Yeah.
it's just there for the picking. And that's why so many people do it.
Yeah.
But not everybody likes it, and that's perfectly fine. You don't have to. If you don't want
Right.
to do it, find what you do like.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so do you have a specific profit goal that you're working towards?
No. I just want to keep on increasing. I hope that maybe one day that my boyfriend could stay home and do it with me full time. I think, if he wants to. And, I mean, I've got kids who they both want to go to college, and both my boys who are about to graduate soon want to go to college. So I want to help them as much as I can. I want to live comfortably. My goal is to live comfortably. I do now, but I want to live just slightly more comfortably than I do, and be able to help as much as I can. I want to start a nonprofit. At some point, I want to be able to make enough money and have enough items listed that sell regularly, where I'm not having to scramble to list more things as quickly, and maybe be able to focus on a nonprofit that I want to start. So those are goals that I have, but I set mini goals all the time, and try to reach those so they don't seem so out of reach, and I feel like I'm being successful that way.
So what's an example of a mini goal that you have?
Well, my first goal was to or one of my first goals was to get 250 items listed. I don't know why, but I felt like that was the magic number, and it was. Another one is I wanted to reach, where it says on the eBay, it'll say you have $2,500 in sales in 31 days. I wanted to reach 2,500. I wanted to reach 3,000. Where it has 60 days. This is my next goal. Where it has 60 days, I want it to say 6,000. I've come $25 away from it, but I haven't reached it yet. So that's my next goal. Just mini goals like that, just little ones that, okay, well, I've reached 6,000. So now, my next one may be 6,500, or just little stuff like that.
Yeah, that's great that you're always working to push yourself to the next level. And
yeah,
that's what it takes, is you never get satisfied that, well, I'm maxed out. This is all I'm going to be able to do, because eBay is unlimited potential.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Well, you're limited by the amount you can work every day and what you can find in your area. But then you get to the point where you start scaling it and you hire out parts of it, or just focus on the higher profit items. You keep refining it until, and it just keeps growing.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that
I think that's important. Keep refining it. If it's not working for you, find out what you need to do to tweak it, because it can work. So if it's not working, figure out what it is that you're doing that's not working, and change it. I think that's very important.
Yeah, you've got to stay in the flow and keep pushing yourself, because what worked 6 months ago may not work now.
Exactly. Yeah.
That item may not even be allowed now that was so great for you, or nobody wants it anymore. Crocs were great when they came out. I was going to Macy's and buying them and selling them on eBay at a markup internationally, because people wanted them, and Macy's doesn't ship internationally. So I mean, they look at me funny. I'd go over there and I'd pay full retail for 10 pairs of Crocs, and then put them on eBay and sell them for 3 times that amount. But that goes away, and some people still love Crocs, and that's great, and they're everywhere, and there's copies of them everywhere, all different, Target brand and Walmart brand and all that. But things there's an ebb and a flow, and if you aren't flexible enough to keep looking for the next thing and keep adapting and keep growing and learning new stuff, then you will get stuck.
Yeah. I think that's where a lot of businesses make mistakes, and they end up going bankrupt. The photography place I worked at, for example, they just, everybody's a photographer now, because they have all these digital cameras, and they do all these magic things, and they have filters. So, people didn't want to go and pay hundreds of dollars in a studio. They want you to come to them and go outside. And, if you don't want to make those changes, you're not going to be successful. And a lot of companies make that mistake.
Yeah, it's like, Blockbuster and Kmart, 2 examples. They did not adapt to what society wanted. And Blockbuster, nobody wanted to rent DVDs. I mean, you can go and I buy DVDs now for less than I used to rent them for 10 years ago.
Yes.
I'm telling my kids, we used to go to this place called Video Warehouse, and when they were in middle school, elementary school, and that was the outing. It was, we're going to go and you can pick out videos, and you can each get 3 videos for the weekend and watch them. And now you go in Goodwill and they can't get rid of them. They're like 50 cents, and you can build your whole library for nothing. And it's like all the money we spent on video rental, DVD rentals, and then you can watch everything on your phone, and you don't even need a DVD anymore. So it's like everything evolves, and you just have to stay with it.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I didn't mean to hijack your answer there, but
no, that's your point.
Okay, so I think we've covered everything I asked you. Is there any, what is your advice to new people, since you have gone from like 0 to 100 miles an hour in just a few months? What is your advice to new people who want to get started and be successful quickly?
Yeah, research a lot. Definitely that. I research a lot, but don't spend all your time researching. I just say list it and forget it, because so many people worry about, how many watchers do I have? How many views do I have? And that doesn't matter. The right person will view it and buy it. I've sold things that have had 6 views, no watchers, and then it's sold, and it's been there for months. And so that's not important. You're wasting time that you could be list every single day. I changed to 30-day listings. It may not be super popular, but I changed to that for a couple of reasons. One is, some people may sort by newest listing, and some people may sort by ending soonest. So then that kind of gives you an extra boost to the top. And then also they end. So when they end, I can sell similar. I can make changes if I need to. I can, if it's been several months, I may research that item to make sure it's still comparable prices, because prices change. And that works. I don't know which came first, if I did the 30-day or the 250, but when I did both, my sales increased tremendously. So I do recommend that. That's my experience. So I don't offer free shipping. So anybody out there who's like, I have to offer free shipping or this won't work, I don't. So.
And you guys can go and look at her store and look at her feedback and see what she sold, and look at the listings so you can see, exactly how she does things. So, and that's how you learn, is surrounding yourself with successful people who are already doing what you want to do. And you can't just be a big talker. You've got to do the work.
Yeah.
Which
Trust
you
research.
did.
Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned researching things, because okay, when you listed it, maybe only 3 other people had it.
Yeah.
6 months later, maybe 15 people have it now. And so your pricing may not be in line with either high or low, or something's changed. So you've got to keep an eye on the market to see what your competitors are doing. People like to, if something's not selling, they immediately drop the price. And that is just not always the answer.
No.
Because, if the BMW dealership down the street has a 50% off sale tomorrow, is everyone going to run down there and buy one? No, only people who are in the market for it will notice that.
Right.
And if your price is too low, people might wonder what's wrong with your item.
Yeah.
Everybody else has this for 50 and this person has it for 25. Something's not right here. I'm not going to buy it from that person.
Yeah, I think that sometimes too. I'm like, what is wrong with it? So you definitely have to have comparable prices, with everybody else.
And you sell a lot of sort of unusual, I guess, items that, you're talking about, these electronic things and different things you find that there may not be a lot of competition for.
Yeah. That just that engraver, in fact, first it was hard to find because there was no markings on it. And so I didn't even know what it was for a long time. It took me hours. And everybody who was selling it was out in a different country. And so I thought, is this even something I can sell locally? Or is somebody from another country going to buy it, when they can buy it maybe cheaper there because, it's being sold there. But someone from, I think it was New York, bought it. And and it was pretty quick too. It didn't take very long. I sell camera equipment. I sell a lot of stuff I don't know anything about until I research it. So you don't always have to know everything when you buy an item. If you feel like you can research it and figure it out. And people ask, sometimes I get a question's rare, but somebody will ask me something and I'm like, oh, this is why, I need to research a little bit more, but I'll research and find the answer for them if I can. If I don't know, I'll just tell them I don't know. And I haven't had any problems yet, so it's working.
Well, it sounds like you and Casey Vetterly, the recycling center guy, are kind of on the same wavelength of like, well, it's only $5. So
that's right.
I can either sell it for that or donate it, or, if it's a $5 investment and you buy 10 items, it's only $50. So you have
That's
to,
how I feel.
you have to have some level of risk. For all you people out there that are in thrift stores and at garage sales and you're putting pictures of should I buy this on Facebook, please stop doing that. You've got to figure that out and make that decision yourself. There is a level of risk doing this, and you've got to be willing to accept that risk. And if you can't find the information you need to buy something to resell it, then just move on. Don't wait for other people to make that decision for you, because number one, you're giving your power away. You can't be empowered in your work if you're not willing to make those decisions and accept that risk. You're wasting time. You're wasting other people's time. And I didn't mean to get off on this tangent, but you know that.
I agree. I see that a lot on there, and I'm just thinking, just research it. It's and if you can't find anything close to it, then maybe just don't take that risk. Or if you think you can find it, when you have more time and you're at home, but it's like you said, I'm only losing $5 if I got it wrong and, I send it off and, it's a return, again, I'm still really only losing that $5, not the money that they paid me that I have to pay them back. I don't have too many returns, but, I just don't look at it that way. It's just the $5 and you can write it off at the end of the year if you want to. It's not a huge risk. I'm not going to spend $50 on something and take that risk, but $5, yeah, that's not a big deal.
And what's weird is I'll have things for a year and then suddenly I can use it myself in my life. I'm like, oh, I've got one of those. I'm going to just keep it and just use it myself. That happens.
I have a hard time with that.
It's like the universe is like, that's why I told you to buy it, because I knew you would need it later, and it's, it's like, well, I want this thing sell. And then an opportunity comes up, either to give it to somebody who needs it or use it myself. And that happens. So it's like, just go with your gut on things, listen to that intuition that's like, oh, you need to buy that, or don't do that. That's not gonna sell.
Yeah.
You do have to get a feel for this, and you can't have all the answers up front before you buy something, and there's no time. If you're in a thrift store, you can't look everything up. You have to just get a feel for it, and it looks like you're really tuned into that stuff that will sell and willing to take the risk.
So I didn't know before until things started selling. I was like, oh, okay, maybe I have an eye for this. And my boyfriend does too, so we're lucky that way. We both know.
Well, and you said that international shipping has worked out well. Can you think of any items that you've shipped internationally that surprised you?
Well, the rice cooker, yes, because I'm like, do they not have rice cookers in Europe? And they do, and with the right cords too. But so that surprised me. I sold a car vacuum to this. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of the island, but it's like it's just teeny tiny island way out past Madagascar and like all these, I don't know. I told you I get geography lessons from this.
Yeah, because it's like you'll sell stuff to the Azores. Well, where's that? Or the Maldives or Crete, or it's like, I've heard of that, but where is it? Yeah. Look at your map and figure it out.
I got a map for that just because I wanted to see where some of these places were. And one thing that surprised me is I spent $1 on this face thing. It just looks like something that you poke your face with, just like kind of massage your face, I guess. And those sold. I bought 6 of them for $1, and they sold for $65 each, and a few of them overseas, and I just was like blown away. I don't know what was special about it. It's supposed to help with aging, I guess. I don't know, but
did it go to Italy? Did it go to Italy or Spain by any chance?
No, Australia was one of them. Israel was another, and I think the rest were local. So
I asked that because when I was selling health and beauty products on eBay UK, it was very interesting to see what countries bought what types of items. And it seemed that around the Mediterranean there, Italy and Spain and Greece, they were very into facial skincare, like anti-aging, like they want to look young, and all the Olay anti-aging regenerous creams and the wrinkle stuff and the cleansers, and they were very. And then in the UK, they were more about lip stuff
Oh.
because it's damp there, and they want, it was like Blistex and Riva and the cold sore stuff, because apparently it rains a lot and it's damp and they get chapped lips a lot, and so they were very big on the lip products. And so it was like interesting to see where things go, and like, what's going on with, why are so many okay. And then like the land of the midnight sun places, Norway and up in that area, Alaska, they would buy the sleeping products, melatonin and Sominex and Tylenol night formula and all that, because they have the 23 hours of daylight whenever it is during the year, and they needed stuff to sleep. So it was, you get into it when you start shipping international, it becomes really interesting.
It does. It really does. And I sell at least 2 to 3 products every single week internationally, and that surprises me too. So, and I just ship worldwide. I don't eliminate any countries yet. I haven't needed to yet. So, if I run into any problems, then it might change. But right now, I don't.
Do you do global shipping program or ship it yourself?
I ship it myself.
Good for you. Good. Yeah, and it's amazing what they'll pay, more than the product. But you got to remember, it's Americans living overseas too. They could be there for work. A lot of people are retiring in different countries now because it's cheaper. It could be military families. You don't know who's on the other end of that package just because they're in another country. I sold some shampoo the other day. The shampoo was $3. It was 2 bottles strapped together. It was $35 they paid, and it went to Hong Kong, and they paid $37 for shipping.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't an Asian name. It was like an English sounding name. So you just never know. So it just stays interesting. So your bottom line here says to the new sellers, list it and forget it.
Yeah.
Take the time you use to worry about how many watchers or views to list. And that's just so true. It's just time. This business is all about time. How much can you do in a day?
Right. You got to be efficient. And if you're worried about, a lot of people will ask me for advice. They'll say, what am I doing wrong? And I'll look at their stuff. They've got 5 things listed in 2 months. And, you're probably not doing anything wrong with those listings, but you just need to keep on listing and just not worry about it.
Yeah. You just got to keep going, just one foot in front of the other, keep going. So Rachel, thank you so much for coming on today. And it took us several weeks to connect and get a schedule and be able to actually do this. Her store is the Eclectic Aesthetic. That's kind of hard to say.
It is. And it was when I was selling clothes that I thought, I wanted to sell eclectic kind of clothes. And, and I just kept it because it's kind of fun.
It's a fun name. So her link is below. You guys check that out. And thanks again for joining us. And I'm going to have you on maybe next year after you've been at it a year or so and see where you're at then.
Great. Well, thanks for having me.
Thanks. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Hey eBayers, it's Suzanne. I wanted to give you a quick sneak peek into a course I've added to my premium content library about selling discontinued health and beauty, grocery, food, all kinds of consumer items you can find locally. There is good money to be made selling discontinued consumable items on eBay. Many can be found in your local retail and grocery stores and can sell for high profit because people are not willing to give up their favorite products. And I have seen this over and over and over again since I started doing this in 2008. Remember, an item is worth what someone will pay for it, and its value changes with the supply and demand. Discontinued items have been a consistent moneymaker for me since 2008. I mean, I made several $1,000s selling this stuff. So about $17 a bottle for this Baby Magic lotion. These were selling for about 5 times the shelf price. And people just were like, where did you get this information? And I'm like, I just figured it out. There's no place that compiles this information. It was just me doing it. I do have contacts in the retail and marketing and manufacturing world, and that learning about a discontinued item is mostly about paying attention and checking for them on a regular basis. How to maximize your profit with timing, how exactly to buy for resale, and the best types of products to sell, not only product categories, but the brand names that frequently discontinue products. So check out the link below. Come on over to the Premium Content Library and check out this course along with many others. To find this course, look under the Consumables section. Scroll down and you'll find the Discontinued Items course, which is over an hour of information. See you there.